So the next part of this is basically about facilitator expectations, right? Just some things that you can do to make WLC run smoothly. Um, Most of this will probably be stuff that you've heard before, and I wouldn't be surprised if you hear it again, because it's fundamental to the process of being a facilitator. And so, what kind of things are we talking about? You should always be with your group unless you're on a break. More broadly, your group should always be supervised. Alongside that, don't let your ambassadors go anywhere on their own, and definitely don't go anywhere with an ambassador alone or be anywhere with an ambassador alone. Um, with programming, please make sure that you are on time. When you're in these programming activities, pay attention. Take some notes that you can use for discussion later on, and encourage your ambassadors to do the same thing. You really want to set the example for them because that will make it more productive for everybody to get the most out of the curriculum. Core to being a facilitator, you want to help your ambassadors get to know everybody that's in their group. That may involve, finding accommodations and supports for ambassadors that have unique needs. And so that could be culture, that could be language, that could be nutrition, that could be ability, could be a whole range of things. But you definitely want to make sure that you're communicating with your ambassadors and building those relationships, to make sure that they have what they need to be successful participants in the WLC. Along with the same lines, make sure that you're being attentive to your groups, and not allowing cliques to form, and also being conscious of ambassadors who may be isolated or detached, from the activities of the rest of the group. We are here to build leaders, and to develop leaders. And so we need to treat our ambassadors like leaders. And so that means striking a balance between how much direction and structure we give them and how much choice we give them to be able to, set their own routines and reinforce those routines, and also make choices and express themselves. Connected to that is our junior staff, who are also leaders and need to be treated like leaders as well. They will have a lot of critical responsibilities at WLC, and so I think that it is very, very, very important, that we recognize the role that they're playing for us as volunteers. They're not here to do coffee runs. They're not here to clean up after our groups. They are not here to supervise groups so that we can be elsewhere. Um, the expectation is that they are going to be productive contributors to the section and to the groups, when they are involved, and that they are going to be effective in taking care of their other operational tasks as well. And so we need to empower them and support them in being able to do those things. Um, I mentioned earlier self care, right? Because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so take advantage of the opportunities that are built in for you to get through the WLC successfully, right? And so take your breaks when you have the opportunity. Eat meals and eat healthy meals. Um, Eat snacks when the opportunity for snacks comes along. Use those inclusive wellness resources, right? We've developed an entire staff support structure, to make sure that you can stay healthy physically and emotionally. So utilize that. And also sleep. I know sleep is not a holy thing, but it needs to be a thing at WLC. Your ambassadors need you to be in top condition for that entire experience, and so taking care of yourself is going to help you be prepared to take care of them. And then finally, don't forget to use your support system, right? The obvious Your section leaders are here to support you and help you to the best extent that we can. Drew with that as well. Your junior staff are going to be participating in that process of helping with the group experience, and then your fellow facilitators and SASA. And so you've got this entire network of people that are here to make sure that you can be successful, which is going to help make sure that your ambassadors have an outstanding experience. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And as we kind of go through these processes, it's really important for you to assume and to understand that everybody has best intentions. And so don't allow the buildup of stress and lack of sleep and lack of energy and all of those other things cloud your interactions and cloud the experience. It's really, really, really important that that you do whatever you can to be in the best possible condition to work with and be available to your ambassadors. All right, and so the last part of this, right now that I've thrown all this stuff at you about your responsibilities and your expectations, right? How do you wrap your head around all of this and get there from here? Well, that's just basic stuff, right? It's doing the things that are kind of in front of you right now. And so that starts with the staff training modules, right? There's going to be a series of them that continue. Some are required, some are optional. The more you take advantage of those trainings, the more you're going to know and the more you're going to feel prepared when you get to campus. Read the newsletters, read the announcements when they come out, use those Slack tools, right? Set reminders for yourself. I have to set reminders for myself all the time to remember to come back and read things if they pop up at an inconvenient time. And put your notifications on for the channels that you need to stay on top of, for your sections, for training, so on and so forth. Use this opportunity in the next month or two to get to know your sections. Right? Get to know your section leaders, get to know your junior staff, get to know your fellow facilitators. This is going to be the core of your network when you're working with your groups of ambassadors. And you have your Slack channel for communication and whatever other tools you need to use to stay in touch and build your relationships with those folks. I would strongly recommend, if you haven't started making travel arrangements, that you do start working on those now. And as you're, booking your flights or your trains or renting your car or whatever it is that you're doing, think about the other commitments, right, that you're missing along with that. So if you know you're going to miss work, make the arrangements you need to make to miss work so that you're not stressed out about work when you're at WLC. If you're missing school, try to make those appropriate arrangements now so that you're not focused on school when you're at WLC, because those outside distractions, while they are important, they are definitely going to have the possibility of taking you away from the ambassador experience, and you don't want that. You want to try to arrive at WLC focused, healthy, rested, prepare as much as you can, for your group times once you go through that group time training and have some conversations with your sections. If you need to have a plan of attack for going into group time, have that plan of attack. If you need to print or create materials for that, print those materials ahead of time and bring them with you. That's going to make you feel a lot better when you get to campus and able to kind of just transition smoothly into that experience. You're going to get your ambassador group lists probably about 2 weeks before WLC, and then you'll have the opportunity to reach out to them to introduce yourself. Make sure that you've got a functioning email that you check, that you can get access to. Make sure that you've got a phone, clear out those old voicemail messages so you can get voicemails if somebody's leaving you messages. If you are thinking about utilizing social media or messaging apps, get those in place. Make sure that you clean up whatever you need to clean up before you start to engage with ambassadors on those platforms. Your section leaders will give you an email template that you can use for introduction. No need to reinvent the wheel there. And then once you've kind of connected with your ambassadors, then you're in the home stretch to get to campus and kick off the WLC. So my final and most important advice is to enjoy this part of the process too. Um, the learning about WLC and the training and the preparation can get a little bit stressful, and for some people maybe a little bit overwhelming. But this is important as a part of building those relationships and making sure that we go in ready. To give these ambassadors a life-changing experience. So stay excited, stay motivated, know that you are playing a huge role in providing this opportunity for the ambassadors. And if you need help, support, have questions, then utilize all the resources that you have. Thanks for listening, guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye.